Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Everybody, Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. I'm back with JC talking about AI and HR.
Don't threaten me with a good time, Wendy. It's good to be back here, and it's a fantastic topic.
You usually don't have a lot of like two-letter words, AI, HR, IT. I want to briefly talk about, AI and recruiting. Humans are still needed. I cannot stress that enough. Robots use data. Technology systems use data. They can't use judgment. They don't know the laws unless it's built in there. So you need to make sure that in recruiting and all aspects of HR, if you are using any kind of technology system, if you're using anything that is predictive analytics, people analytics, any kind of AI, that you make sure that your data or your outcomes or what we think the outcomes are not biased. One thing that I see people doing already with this GPT that we were just talking about, which by the way is down. Everybody's on it, so you can't even get on there. Try to get on it right now while I'm talking.
Oh, no, I did. I got to let you know, like, even though the banner comes on up top saying that it's busy or not available, if you type in there, it'll still work. It'll just be a little bit slower than normal. See, a lot of people don't realize that one.
This robot just totally, threw me off my game there.
Yeah.
So what some people are doing, and I don't blame them, because we as employers ask candidates, we want them to jump through hoops just to apply to our job, even though we haven't talked to them yet. And so many people are putting into the chat system, hey, create me a cover letter.
Yeah.
And so if your applicant tracking system, your ATS, requires a cover letter or just a resume in that case, and the chat system is creating these amazing resumes and amazing cover letters, then you're going to be getting all your applicants to look exactly the same.
Yeah, right.
The cool thing is the bias goes away, right? The uncool thing is, for your employers, now you're being tricked by candidates just so they can say, listen, man, it's not about my resume. Talk to me. I'm the right person for the job.
Yeah.
And, I do recruiting as the HR lady. I have somebody on my team that helps me with that. And it is a human-based activity. I don't care if you have the most expensive applicant tracking system in the world. You have to talk to the other humans. Your AI technology is going to rule out resumes and candidates that have absolutely no business applying to your job. My concern is when we rule out people because we want them to have a certain GPA, or we say, oh, they don't have 5 years of experience. Well, I'm sorry. My 2 years of experience at one thing could be equivalent to your 10 years of experience at the same thing.
Yeah, or alternatively, putting a limit on the top end. We don't want anyone that has 32 years experience. And then you could be inadvertently excluding people that are over the age of 40.
Right, exactly. And then you could also, and then it gets down to race as well. And, single parents, things like that.
When you say race, you're talking about like how fast you run? No, I'm kidding.
Yes, definitely how fast you run away from this conversation.
That's right. That's right.
But, you were mentioning before, JC, in our first session about, facial recognition and, whether it's an employee or an applicant. Well, some AI is recognizing emotions on somebody's face during an interview or just during an employee conversation using some kind of technology system. And it has already been showing bias. Many of them have already shown bias that they are inadvertently saying, okay, if you are a black male, you are shown as automatically as angry versus a white male.
Oh my gosh.
And so, right. And so you have to use, I don't want to say common sense, but you have to use experience, your knowledge, skills, and abilities, and your humans to say, no, that's not right. I was given an example earlier today on this conversation about Like, let's just say we ran a report and we said, okay, this manager, we're trying to hold managers accountable, and we're running an analytics report, and we're like, wow, this manager has a lot of turnover and a lot of layoffs during this time period, and it's got to be the manager's fault for sure. So now we're going to go fire the manager. Well, when you look back, it's actually during the COVID era, right?
Right.
But your AI may not have noticed that, or if you didn't have a drop down. So your your HR person or payroll person is terminating somebody in the HRIS system or the payroll system, and there wasn't an option to say laid off due to COVID. It just said layoff or termination.
Yeah.
And then when you run these reports down the road, you're like, manager, you're the problem. And it's like a human would say, whoa.
Right.
That was 2020 or 2021 or even now, early 2023. That wasn't the manager's fault. That was a different reason for that. So we do have to, make sure we hire humans, we hired them and we've trained them to do their job well. Let them continue supporting the AI systems so that you're not making silly decisions like that.
Before we started recording today, we do get a series of references coming to us from our producers. Hard work goes into making sure that some of these links are put together. And this one young lady, she was able to source this one from the AmericanBar.org. And I'm just going to grab a snippet here because it plays directly in part to the resume discussion that you had brought up, Ms. Wendy. It states, if the benchmark resumes used to make the algorithm came from candidates of a dominant gender, age, national origin, race, or other group, the algorithm might leave out words that are common in resumes from minority groups. Mm-hmm. Think about the following situation. Most of the people who sent in benchmark resumes were white men. The algorithm may downgrade the terms that were used often in the benchmark resume group, like women, as in women's bowling league, so that resumes with those terms score lower than resumes from the same group as the benchmark resumes, which has a different effect. If we look at the Fair Housing Act claims, they've been the most common type of lawsuit involving claims that use algorithms that had different effects on different people. And as AI becomes more common in the workplace, employers should be ready for similar lawsuits based on algorithms in the future. That advisement is coming to us today directly from AmericanBar.org. Feel free to stop by there or Google AI in the Workplace American Bar if you want that entire story.
Yeah, it's super important to know that not to, I don't want to say not trust AI, but not automatically trust it just because it's AI and just because it's a really cool, applicant tracking system or, people analytics system. You have to know where has it been tested? Where has it been validated? What are is it 80% accurate? Is it 100% accurate? A lot of these technology companies, no offense to any technology companies that are listening, but they're going to sell you that this is the best thing since sliced bread. And, because that's their job. But you, the employer, I don't care what system you're using, including an Excel spreadsheet, you are still responsible for any kind of bias and discrimination. So, I didn't know that the system was broke is not a valid excuse whatsoever.
Yeah, you're onto a real hot button right there that I want to emphasize, the human-centric approach to this entire thing. We are going to see within short order Microsoft start to include aspects of ChatGPT or Lambda or GPT-3, GPT-4, which are basically really just language standards. They're going to be including that into their Microsoft products. So we will be at a tipping point here probably before the fiscal year ends, where you'll receive a Microsoft update and you will have AI integrated into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and everywhere in between, providing you these abilities all the way down to probably like plagiarism trackers and the whole nine. So it's leveling the playing field. It's enhancing abilities. It's that human aspect, exactly as you're honing in on, that's going to be so critical. I support you on that.
Thank you. Thank you for supporting me. I appreciate that. Hey, folks, we'll be right back. We're going to talk about next how to use AI and still be a good company, since there are so many risks. And some of you may be saying, oh, maybe I don't want to be using this. We'll be right back.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.